What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we have some audio from episode 255 featuring the Innovation Center, a segment here on the Jurassic Park Podcast. In today's segment, Tom Fishenden welcomes in Jens Erik, the Senior Community Manager over at Frontier Developments, for the video game Jurassic World Evolution. We get to learn about Jens' history in gaming, the Evolution community, and so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this segment from the Jurassic Park Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Innovation Center here on the Jurassic Park Podcast. So today we are excited to be able to bring you a fun episode where we are going to be introducing you to the new lead community manager for Jurassic World Evolution, Jens Erik. Jens, why don't you say hello to everyone who's listening?
Hello to everyone who's listening.
Perfect. That was spot on. How did you know?
I should give you one small correction. It's actually senior community manager, not lead community manager.
There we go.
Just to be 100% on that.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's so confusing. You've got senior community managers, lead community managers, community managers. I
know. Like, once you're in the industry, like, it sort of starts to make sense. But then you realize that different companies have use the titles interchangeably or use them differently. Oh, sorry. And so some companies have community developers, and they also have community support. There's community managers, there's senior community managers, there's community leads, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, so I'm sort of whereas Bo used to be the lead, and now it's Tim who's the lead, and then you have Shantae and Paul who are just community managers. I'm sort of in the in-between area between the leads and the quote-unquote regular community managers.
You basically have to keep everyone happy.
I guess, yeah, sort of. Because I do a lot of the work that Shantae and Paul also do, but then I also do a bit more not overarching, but some oversight stuff and things and this and that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a good way of describing it. I mean, when Bo came on, she was pretty much, community management is kind of this and that when we're not sitting in meetings.
Yeah.
So, cool. Very much the same kind of stuff then. Wicked. So that kind of leads nicely into the first sort of question that I had for today's show, which is, how did you get into the games industry? And what led you to working for Frontier?
Well, I technically started in the games industry about 10 years ago, I think. Cool. So my first sort of foray into this was that I started a website with a couple of internet friends. It was called The Gaming Vault. It unfortunately does not exist anymore due to various reasons that I'm not going to get into now. But I started that website along with some of my friends, and because I wanted to try to write about video games. Yeah. And it was a very low threshold sort of thing to just be we started this site, so let me try writing some news and reviews and features and things, I guess. So I did that for a short while, and eventually I saw that there was a Norwegian games website who was looking for freelance reviewers and journalists. So I just shot them a quick email. I attached one of my reviews, translated into Norwegian, of course, and then 4 months later, because of the summer and all of that stuff, they sent me an email back and said hey, we like what you've written. Do you want to do a trial period for us? So I wrote a bunch more reviews for them, and then once that was done, I was a freelancer there for about 4 years, from 2012 to 2016. And then unfortunately, at least in Norway, there's not a lot of money in video game journalism. So eventually I realized I need to try to find a real job at some point. and so I was starting to, because I've been following, I've been listening to video game podcasts for quite a while, and I've been making note of people in the games industry, both in Norway and internationally. And I realized that a lot of people who had journalism experience eventually moved over into the development side of things as, producers or social media managers or community managers or, working in PR and marketing. So I thought maybe that's my window, but I didn't really know like where to begin or where to apply. And then by some stroke of luck or stroke of genius, whoever, I don't know which one, a friend of mine just sent me a message saying, hey, Funcom is looking for a community manager. I think you'd do a great job there.
Yeah.
And so I thought, might as well just try. And because at the time I was working part-time at a newspaper, I was also working freelance, doing, the games reviewing and video game news and all that stuff. And so I thought, just write an application, see what happens. And then suddenly Funcom wanted to interview me for a job, and then suddenly they wanted to give me a job. And I still it's still a bit of a blur how it happened, because I didn't really think that I would get that position, but they apparently saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. So I joined up with Funcom in 2016, and then after a while, I learned a lot working for Funcom. It was my first real industry experience from the dev side of things, and eventually I started feeling like I need to sort of reach beyond just the games industry in Norway. And I'd been following Bo on Twitter for a while, and then I just heard a lot of really positive, good things about Frontier developments. And I had a slow day at work one day, and I was thinking, I was sort of mulling it over, should I leave? It's good at Funcom. I liked it there. But I was like, should I leave? Should I try to do something else, et cetera, et cetera? And as I was thinking that, I opened Twitter on my phone, and literally the first tweet I saw was Bo saying,
Yep.
hey, I'm looking for a new community manager for my team at Frontier. And so I don't believe in, fate or anything like that. But at that moment, I was like, is this a sign?
Yeah, it kind of blows your mind, doesn't it? And I feel with the way Bo does it as well, she was always especially at Frontier, she's always kind of hey, I want you to come and join my team. And it's really open and engaging. So you just see that and you're like, I want to join that team.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I talked it over with one of my colleagues, and she helped me get a decent get my application in order, and looked at my CV and all that kind of stuff. And then I sent an application off to Frontier as well, and then suddenly I got an email back saying, hey, we would like to interview you. Cool. And so I did. That was in January of this year, which feels it was 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And so I did a Skype interview, and they would also fly me into their studio to do a face-to-face interview. And then during the interview there, I was told hey, we would like to offer you a position. And then early May, that's when I started working at Frontier, because it seemed like an incredibly good place to work. I admired Bo and the rest of the team working there. I've been a big fan of Jurassic Park since I was very, very young.
That's what we love to hear.
Yeah, I figured. And so I just, I took the shot, and it connected. And so here I am.
No, awesome. No, I'm glad to hear that. And I think it's interesting as well. Obviously, you had the chance to kind of get almost that outside. I don't want to use the word influencer, because obviously influencer and press and everything like that is very different, even though it mixes quite a bit. But you kind of got the chance to get that outside perspective of what it might be like for the people who you'll now be working with in your current job. And I think that's always really insightful, because obviously you can sort of think, well, back when I was doing this, what would I have wanted to cover? What kind of things would I have wanted to get involved in? All that kind of stuff. So it gives you a lot of kind of well-rounded perspective, I suppose, which must be quite nice.
Yeah, definitely. And I've also used that perspective a couple of times, where I've just been straight up told people hey, when I was a journalist, this is the kind of stuff that I wanted to hear about, or this is the kind of stuff that I didn't want to hear about. Because sometimes, I remember, I'm not gonna name the game, but I was talking to some of my former colleagues at gamer.no, which was the website I was working for, and they had gotten throughout a whole year, they gotten an email a day from a game developer trying to like gin up interest in his game, and the more and more emails he would send them, the less and less interested they were in checking out his game. But like apparently the game was successful, so I guess it worked on some level. But
there was
just
somebody
like,
out there who was happy to have an email every day.
Someone's just like, well, 150 emails in, fine. I guess we'll go for this now. But having that perspective has been helpful, and like having the experience from being at another company is really helpful. Having perspective of working on like completely different games than what I'm working on now is really helpful as well. So it's been a good journey so far, and I'm very, very curious to see like what the coming year is gonna hold for me, and the following years as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously you mentioned Jurassic.
Yes.
And if the clue wasn't there in the name, that is what we're all about here at the Jurassic Park Podcast.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to know, do you have any specific memories of how like your relationship with the franchise started? Was there a particular film or like a particular product or anything like that that really got you into Jurassic?
I mean, like a lot of people, I was really fascinated by dinosaurs when I was young. I think that goes for a lot of people, and I think it goes for a lot of men in general. I mean, probably women as well. I'm not gonna, I got the sense that like dinos were like the boy thing when I was young. Of course, everything could be different now. But my first like entryway into dinosaurs and into like those types of creatures was actually the Power Rangers when they were on TV.
Okay, cool.
And then from that, like the interest sort of bloomed from there. And then I remember the first Jurassic movie that I saw was actually the second one.
Oh, cool.
And I think I'd seen like trailers for the first one on like VHS, like other VHSs that I had at home, but for some reason it looked a bit scary to me. But then once Jurassic Park 2 was out, we were at a friend's cabin with his family, and like everyone was sitting down to watch Jurassic Park 2. And so I was like, all right, I can probably watch this. Like if it gets scary, I'll just like cover my eyes or anything.
Yeah.
And then, that from there, I, went back and watched Jurassic Park 1, and I really loved that. And then eventually Jurassic Park 3 came out. And then since then, I've sort of been following the franchise, essentially.
Cool.
But yeah, it was, weirdly enough, like it started with the second movie, not with the first one, because the first one seemed a bit too scary once I was like, I think I was 6 when that came out, because it came out in 94, 93.
Yep, 93.
So, yeah, I think I probably felt that I was a little too young once that came out. But then once I was a little old, I was like, yeah, no, this is fine. Like the dinosaurs are scary, but I can handle this now. I'm 10 now. It's fine.
No, cool. It's cool that you started with the second one as well, because I always shock people a little bit, because I feel like for me, my entry really into the franchise was the fourth one. With Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Mainly because I am only a baby when it comes to our podcast. So I was in college when that film came out,
right?
And I was studying film, and I can just remember a lot of like the creative marketing with the actual website that was themed around the island.
Yeah.
Really captured my imagination, and then I just kind of got into it from there, and it's kind of got its claws around me now, and I'm not going anywhere.
So it's like the viral marketing sort of did its job then.
It worked, yeah, it worked. Too well. I'm obsessed now. Cool. So I'm going to throw out a little bit of a tricky question.
Okay.
And I'd be interested to see what your answer is to this one, because I know for a lot of people it is their first experience with it. So which film in the franchise is your favourite?
I mean, it has to be the first one, like the first Spielberg movie, Jurassic Park. I personally think, I remember a while ago, well, very recently actually, there was a thing on Twitter where someone had asked, what is one film that you consider to be absolutely perfect, like you wouldn't change anything about it? And like I have a myriad of those, but like Jurassic Park is one of those movies. Like I Like you can, if you want to, you can probably sit and poke holes in it like as much as you humanly want. But like for me, it is one of those like really perfect adventure movies that works for kids, it works for adults, it works for casual film fans, it works for hardcore film fans. Like it works on so many different levels, I feel. And like it's over 20 years old at this point. It's like 26 years old. And I think it's still like some of the effects in that movie still hold incredibly well. Like even if you watch it on like a really like big 4K screen in front of you, like it still looks great in my opinion. And it really captures, I feel, at least like the majesty of dinosaurs, but also definitely. Like the terrifying, like that they were and would be very terrifying if they were to come back as well. So like it really nails that, like that sort of balancing act between those two things. So like being like a scary adventure movie, but also like being kind of magical and wondrous. And like you look at it and you like the scene where Alan Grant sees like the living dinosaurs for the first time. Like you see the look in his face, and then they cut to like the wide shot of everything moving around. You hear John Williams' music, and you're like, yeah, like you feel that same sense of wonder that he does. Like even though you know that it's fictional, you know that it's just things happening on the screen, you know that it's just CGI, but like it still looks incredible. Like you still feel that sense of awe. At least I do. But
no, I agree with you, and I think it's really cool actually that you made that parallel with the lake scene, because as you were kind of describing that sense of awe there, that's instantly the scene from the film that comes into my mind. So I think that sort of says a lot to how well they did with that first film, that they really took the time to kind of hit all the relevant beats and sort of like you say, have those moments where you sort of almost get to catch your breath in a way and sort of just take everything in, as opposed to just having everything exploding all the time, which seems to be a lot of modern movies.
I think I feel like that film is just it's Steven Spielberg just like firing on all cylinders. Like he's done that several times throughout his career, but like you look at it and you like feel like this is a guy who's like already figured it out. And like that was him at a pretty young age. Like you can see some of those like the same sort of techniques like further on in his career as well. So I think it's really great. It's also the source of one of my most favorite memes and YouTube videos, where they take the lake scene and they switch out John Williams music with someone playing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the melodica. I love Jurassic Park. I love that scene. I love that video because it's amazing just how you switch the music around to make it sound so incredibly silly.
I am very tempted to see if I can edit that into the background of this section of the podcast now. Maybe just have it for the rest of the entire thing.
I think that would be a bit distracting, but like, yeah, I just love that thing. Like whenever I'm feeling a little bit down and like I need a pick me up, I'll find that scene on YouTube and I'll just start laughing and then things will be better.
That is amazing. Somebody out there, please remake that in Jurassic World Evolution. That is your mission now. You need to go and do that and put it on the Reddit, please. Cool. So off the back of that and me asking people to go away and create things, obviously you've been a part of the Jurassic World community for a little while now, and the JWE community specifically. And I noticed that you've been doing a really good job in terms of socials of highlighting a lot of different things, like the postcard that you put out the other day, for example. I thought that was a really cool use of screenshots in the game and kind of doing something different with them.
Definitely. That was, like I saw that on Reddit and I was like, yeah, this needs to go on also on our social channels. Like this is incredibly cool.
I think you need to license that and like send out Jurassic World Evolution postcards.
I wish we could do that.
But yeah, off the back of that, what are kind of some of your favourite things that you've noticed while you've been going through and looking at what the community gets up to?
Oof, that's a big question. I mean, everyone is just so incredibly creative. And like they make some incredible looking parks, first of all. Just like taking taking the basic building blocks that we provided them in the game and just like making stuff that looks incredible and seems to be like a place that you would want to visit.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. But not just that, like people make really cool screenshots. They do incredible like videos and GIFs of things happening in the game. I think it's fun that they, like most video game communities, I think it's good that they, hold our feet to the fire, so to speak, because like that's sort of the job of video game fans, to sort of try to hold the developers slightly accountable for the things that they're doing, which is, I think, it's a good thing as well. But yeah, just seeing all the creativity, seeing how good everyone is at playing this game compared to me, that just blew me away, like right away. And just like I felt like the first month or two when I was going through the subreddit and like going through the Discord server, looking at looking at some of the things that people had made, I was like, I feel like everything I'm posting is just, hey, great screenshot, or this looks fantastic, or this is awesome. But like it's 100% genuine. Like I'm repeatedly blown away by some of the screenshots and like the parks that people build in Jurassic World Evolution, because it all looks amazing.
Yeah, no, that's really nice to hear, and it's nice that, especially more recently as well, you have expanded to kind of incorporate a lot more of that. Like, I'm sure I've seen some artwork that people have made based off of the game that you shared recently, and sort of other stuff like that. So it really feels like, while there's people who do stuff in-game and sort of play around with the capture mode, there's also a lot of people who are doing stuff around that and are making really cool art. It's getting recognised as well, which is awesome to see.
Like that is some of the things that I like in general also about games, that it's not just, like you said, it's not just a thing that's happening in the game that's interesting in terms of community made content, if I can use that phrase. Like it's also the fan art, it's the fan videos, it's all sorts of stuff that's happening around it. Because like I remember when I was at Funcom, I was working on a game called Conan Exiles, which is a open world survival game. And in Conan Exiles you can like summon avatars of your like barbarian, like of your god, essentially. And at one point I saw someone sent me on Twitter, like they had made like a crochet version of one of the god avatars, which just looks like a giant squid. And I was like, yeah, this is really cool. Like this is something different than the screenshots and the other things that people send. And I really like seeing that stuff as well, like seeing the creative work that people do, both like inside and outside the game.
Yeah, cool. No, I think it's nice because it's kind of like, I mean, as obviously a studio, you work really hard on this product for so many years, and then you put it out there, and it's kind of up to the community to sort of take that and do whatever they like with it. So it's always nice seeing when maybe people do something that you didn't actually expect them to do with it, and get really creative with it. So that kind of leads nicely into something else that I wanted to ask, which is, are there any things in particular that you've noticed so far in the community that have surprised you?
I mean, I probably should have thought about this going into it, but and I mean this like in a very, very good way, but there's a lot of people who like are very peculiar about their dinosaurs. And I think that's fun, because like you, on a certain level, you want realistic looking dinosaurs, but our job is to sort of present sort of movie accurate dinosaurs, because it's based on the Jurassic franchise, and like they look a certain way in the movie, so they have to look a certain way in the game, but I think it's been fun to just see sort of some of the like almost social media beef that people can sort of get into with each other. Where it's just like, no, this isn't dinosaur so and so.
This
like dinosaur
T-Rex looks better than that T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's been a bit fun, but also just seeing like how knowledgeable a lot of people are, because like we do the Tuesday trivia posts, and we always like end them with asking players like, what do you know about this carnivore, this herbivore, or whatever. And there will always be just like tons of things coming in that I had no idea about, but like that people have found and learned throughout their life, which I think is really interesting. Like it's great to see how knowledgeable everyone is, and how like we're all here because we really like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I think that's been that was one of the things that surprised me really, like just like, yeah, everyone knows so much. And I was like, oh, I should probably pick up some books about paleontology and try to read up on this a bit more, so I can sort of try to match wits with some of our community members.
I feel you on that. I've actually, so we've not aired it yet at the time of recording this, but I've just started doing a show here with another member of the podcast, and he works in museum learning teams.
Oh.
So these episodes are basically me just saying stupid stuff about dinosaurs that I think is right, and him then saying, no, actually it would have been this, and kind of teaching me more about dinosaurs, which has been quite fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's been good. Cool. So I think this is always a popular question, especially off the back of that.
Yeah.
And I will warn you, you may be about to make some enemies. So I know it's early days in the community. Brace yourself.
All right.
So what, Jens?
Yes.
Is your favourite dinosaur? And I'll be nice. I'll let you pick one that's not in Jurassic World Evolution and one that is in Jurassic World Evolution.
All right. Oh God! Like this is always like I find it always very tricky to answer questions when people ask me like, "What's your favorite thing?" Because it's always difficult to pick one.
You're gonna hate some of the questions later.
Probably, but for some reason, like my brain just immediately hits two answers, and it's kind of good because one of them is in Jurassic World Evolution and one of them isn't. So I'm going to go for those two. The first one that isn't in Jurassic World Evolution is the Dimetrodon.
Oh.
And I'm actually not sure why, but I just like remember when I was young having like a very, like really just liking what it looked like. Like it was just like this very like, ground lizard, quote unquote, with like the giant fin on the back. And I thought it just looked really cool. And it sort of just grew to be one of my favorites somehow. I think a lot of my friends were just like, they were into the, Tyrannosauruses and all that kind of stuff. But like, I thought the Dimetrodon, like this looks like a cool dinosaur. The
Dimetrodon, I was going to say, is actually quite an interesting one as well, because this is me doing exactly what people do on Twitter, but I went to an exhibit that had a skeleton of a Dimetrodon right before lockdown started in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And that comes from the Permian era, so it's just before dinosaurs. It's one of the descendants, or precedents, whatever, of them, which is really cool. And it was really surreal seeing it in person and like seeing how long and bony that sail is.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
And like just looking at it, and like you'd think there's a lot in there, and then you realize like, oh yeah, there's a lot more in there than I actually thought.
Yep. It was pretty surreal. It was cool though. I've got to see a lot of skeletons recently, which has been cool. And that makes me sound like I might be a murderer or something. Strictly dinosaur skeletons, I promise.
I have a basement full of bones, but it's only dinosaurs, I swear.
Cool. So what was your Jurassic World Evolution pick?
I got to give it up for the Triceratops.
Oh, yeah.
And that actually goes back to Power Rangers again. Because... like a lot of slightly introverted, nerdy kids, I really resonated with Billy Cranston, the Blue Power Ranger, and his Zord, like his dinosaur, was the Triceratops, and like going into adulthood, I just like eventually learned to appreciate it on more just like a, I guess, dinosaur level, because definitely. Like It's built like a tank, and it has the horns to defend itself with, and has the tails to defend itself with. And like looking like thinking about Jurassic Park, like probably the three dinosaurs that you think about is either the Velociraptors, it's the T-Rex, or it's the Triceratops.
Yeah.
And I just really, for some reason, I keep going for I really like the herbivores, and I think the Triceratops is probably one of my favorites from Jurassic World Evolution. The actual favorite from Jurassic World Evolution.
Cool. No, I like that. It's good. Are you a big fan of the 93 skin that got added then?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. No, that looks good. I like getting up close with that one in capture mode.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, good picks. Good picks. I'm just waiting for.
I hope I haven't made
all
too
of the
many
comments
enemies.
to roll in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So we touched on it a little bit later, a little bit earlier even. You can see I'm just losing the plot slowly.
That's fine.
But I wanted to kind of ask what working at Frontier has been like for you so far. So obviously you've been very positive, which is great because it sounds like you're having fun. But I just thought I'd give you a chance to kind of talk about that a little bit and kind of settling into the community team. What's that been like? Especially during such a weird time as well.
Yeah, it is a really weird time. So for those of you who don't know, I'm when we're recording this, I'm currently sitting in my my bedroom at home in Norway at my parents' house because like initially I was supposed to move to Cambridge where Frontier's offices are located in early April, and then COVID-19 happened and all the airlines stopped flying for 2 months. And then I was still onboarded remotely, as we call it. It's been weird working out of my room and, you know, not going to an office and not having a commute and not like physically meeting colleagues.
Yeah.
But I feel like Frontier has been really good at, you know, making me feel welcome and like making everyone who is new feel welcome, in my opinion. They've been super helpful with like anything I've needed help with. They've sent me equipment and like work equipment if I need it. They've like donated, like not donated, they're like given me time and given me resources for you know anything I need basically, and that's been really good. And I just, you know, meeting the team has been really great. I immediately felt welcome. Like I immediately felt like, yeah, this is a good group of people that I think I'm gonna really get along with and like really work well with. And you know, just getting that feeling from day one was really great, because then because you know, like leaving one job and starting another, there's always that little feeling in the back of your mind going, am I making a mistake now?
Yep.
But then like coming in and just like meeting everyone and you know, being so welcomed, like just made me think like, yeah, like I made the right decision. This is good for me. And you know, down the line, the plan is still to eventually move to Cambridge, hopefully once things begin settling down, if they start settling down, and then and then we'll take it from there, I guess. But it's been really great so far. I've really enjoyed what I've been doing so far. I really enjoy the people I work with. I feel like I've settled in nicely. And you know, there's still some challenges with working from home and all that kind of stuff, because you know, you sit there in like your space and you sort of focus on just your things. So then you have to be a lot better at just, you know, reaching out and sending messages to people instead of just sitting there for 8 hours by yourself and just doing nothing. But I feel so far it's been really good, and I think it's going to be really good in the future as well.
Good, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I know it's all weird because in a kind of way, I suppose, like this podcast will be a part of that whole history of how all of us had to like adapt to new circumstances working from home. I mean,
definitely.
I know for me it's weird because I'm sat here doing work all day, and then just on my right there's a shelf that's got like a T-Rex and a Baryonyx on it, and I'm like, this is not normal at all. But no, it's good to hear you've kind of had everything in place to make it feel as normal as it can, given the very unnormal circumstances. Off the back of that, and off the back of making friends on the community team, I'm maybe about to ruin all of that, because I'm gonna ask you a question that was very, very tense back when Stegs used to be at Frontier. Might not be the case now. There might be a, you know, new champion in the office. Ranger races.
Yeah.
When it comes to them, who on the community team would you say would be most likely to win one?
So I guess you're talking about the current community team then.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how good Tim is at, you know, racing games and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I know that Shantae has a lot of experience in Ranger racing. And I think she and Stegs still have a bit of a rivalry going on Twitter. I don't know. Like, I am pretty bad. I consider myself pretty bad at racing games. I took my racing game license in the Mario Kart school of racing games, which means that I just jam on the gas pedal and I hope for the best. So I still think it's I think Shantae is going to come out on top, and then I'm going to be like on a close second, and then probably Tim is going to be behind me. So I think it's going to be Shantae.
Cool. Shantae, you can say that you have officially taken the trophy at this point, and you can throw that trophy in Steggs' face when you next see him. There you go. Cool. So we're going to go into the 3 quickfire questions, and you're probably going to hate them because it's all about picking a favourite. So take your time. Curse me as much as you would like if you feel necessary. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what you come out with. So, first question, if you could choose one of these, would you choose the T-Rex or the Spinosaurus?
All right, so I'm going to go just like by pure like coolness factor. So I'm going to have to go for the T-Rex like 100% because, you know, the T-Rex was the original iconic Jurassic Park / Jurassic World dinosaur. Like, there's a reason why that is still the logo, even though they swapped it out for Jurassic World 3.
I was about to say, you've just said something so topical there about logos. Good luck.
Yeah, but like I said before, like, it is one of the dinosaurs that people think about when they think about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, in my opinion, at least. Like, there could be other people thinking otherwise, but like, yeah, so like T-Rex is the one that I'm going to go for.
Cool. Do you think it would be different if you had been introduced to JP3 first as opposed to The Lost World?
I actually don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
It could be because like The Lost World sort of tries to say like, hey, there's a new king in town, or queen, depending on, you know, how you see things.
Yeah.
But it could be. I don't know. I'm actually not sure. That's an interesting question.
Cool. No, it's interesting to see if that kind of shakes anyone's opinions on things. Cool. So off the back of that, going back to the original Jurassic Park, obviously there's 2 very iconic small carnivores in the film.
Yep.
The Velociraptor and the Dilophosaurus.
Oof.
If you had to choose one of those, which would you go for?
I mean, the Dilophosaurus, like, it takes out Nedry, and then it sort of, you know, saves all the embryos. But I mean, it has to be the raptors, right? Like, they are the coolest ones. They have the most exciting scenes. Like, if it wasn't for the raptors, we wouldn't have the clever girl scene. We wouldn't have we wouldn't have like the claw like tapping on the kitchen floor when they're inside the visitor center. We wouldn't have, you know, the entire kitchen scene.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it has to be the Velociraptors.
Cool. No, I'll take that. The Dilophosaurus figure I reviewed this morning is looking very sad to my side right now.
Oh,
but
no.
It's okay.
I still like I still like the Dilophosaurus. Like, I like the you know, the crest that they have and all that kind of stuff. But like, it has to be the raptors. Like, they are also one of the iconic dinosaurs.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think there's a reason why they have literally been in all 5 films, because clearly people like them. Yeah. Cool. So one that might not be so clear-cut then, because I feel like these are kind of quite level-grounded in terms of iconography. Obviously, we've had 2 hybrids, if you don't count the Doctor Wu DLC. Mm-hmm. And they are the Indoraptor and the Indominus Rex. So, which one out of those 2 do you prefer? I feel like this is the hardest one.
Yeah, this is the hardest one. For some reason, the Indominus Rex still, it feels more dinosaur-y.
Yeah.
I guess. So I think I'm probably gonna go for that because, I think it's mostly that the Indoraptor, it just seems really cruel.
Yeah.
And there's something within me, you know, like I know that it's fiction, and like I know, you know, it's a movie where they bring back clone dinosaurs via DNA trapped in amber. Like, the science has sort of gone out the window ages ago. But it's just, for some reason, I like to think of the dinosaurs both the way they actually were and in the fiction of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, as as creatures. Like they have a level of intelligence, but they don't necessarily like think things through, and they don't like the Indoraptor. It feels a bit too. Yeah, it feels a bit too smart for me to be a dinosaur. I know that sounds weird, but so I think that's probably why I like the Indominus Rex better, because it still feels like it's a dinosaur. It does still have its like cruel moments, but it's probably because, like they say in Jurassic World, like it's trying to find its place in the food chain. It has only lived among itself, so it's sort of it's trying things out. Whereas the Indoraptor, like he is. Like because it's a he. Like he is cruel. Like it is. Yep. It is almost evil. Like it thinks. Like it looks at you, and it thinks like, all right, I know how I'm gonna take this person out, and then it absolutely does, and it does it in like a very nasty
horrid way. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, and I'll send you a link to this after, because this will make you think that the Indoraptor is even crueler.
Okay.
There is a cut scene from Fallen Kingdom of the Indoraptor playing with a human skull in its cell.
That's Jesus. And just like because I'm immediately reminded of the scene, like the auction scene, as it's breaking out, where it's like faking its death. Like that feels like I understand, like it's supposed to be intelligent, it's supposed to be cruel and that kind of stuff, but like it's a bit like it moves past being a dinosaur at that point for me. Like
it's almost like Frankenstein's monster in a way at that point.
I mean, sort of. Yeah, but it's it fits into the theme of Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, in that maybe mankind shouldn't be messing with nature, and yet we do it anyway, because our scientists are too occupied to figure out if we could.
You can do it, I believe.
and never stop to think if we should.
I'm so proud right
now.
Nailed it. Smashed it. Wicked. I think that's cool. I mean, for me, the Indominus, probably partly because, like I say, Jurassic World was kind of quite an intrinsic part of me really flourishing into adulthood. That has always been something that just stands out to me. And I think, like you say, it's really cool how in Jurassic World she is finding her place on the food chain, because that kind of toys with that idea of, well, we're the dominant species now, but is it always going to be that way, or is something else going to come along in the future?
Definitely.
And I think that's very much a cool kind of like Jurassic theme of finding our place in nature and not kind of breaking the status quo. I think that's cool. Sweet. So we'll go back to Jurassic World Evolution before I ask you our final question for the day. And I kind of wondered, what is your favourite thing to do in the game? So obviously I've seen on Twitter that you've been building your park recently. So yep. Is that like the side you enjoy? Do you enjoy going and building? Do you like playing around with the camera? What's the bit that you really sort of enjoy getting hands-on with?
I'm not really much of a I'm not really much of a challenge mode kind of person, so I'm just gonna put that out there. No, I've had sort of like an on again, off again relationship with like these kinds of management sims, and I think my main thing is just like I really like just having something with a campaign that just sort of tells you like, hey, we need you to make this thing, but it's up to you how you solve that problem. Because then there's no sort of like time challenge or anything like that. I don't have to like rush through anything, so I can just sort of take my time and build through and like build what I want, how I want it. So like currently, at least, it's the campaign mode that I think is best, and then the sandbox mode right after that. But I don't consider myself to be creative enough to like make something really good in sandbox mode.
I feel you on that.
Sometimes when, like, for example, if I've been playing Planet Coaster, for example, I like campaign stuff a bit better than just being like, here's an empty area, make whatever you want. And at that point, I'm just like, oh God, what do I do?
The pressure's like on
what do
you
I do?
to come
Someone
up with the ideas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, someone give me instructions, please.
Yeah. I feel like
So-
that goes back to our conversation about Lego the other day needing instructions.
Yes, for sure. I've enjoyed playing with Legos throughout my entire life, but for some reason I'm not the most creative person. If you just give me just like a bag of Legos and be like, build something, I would just maybe make a house and then that's it.
Yeah.
But you know, give me a set of instructions and I will make the heck out of a Lego set. So
Please,
yeah,
somebody
I
clip that as well. There we go.
no, but I really enjoyed the campaign mode. I really enjoy hearing, you know, Jeff Goldblum instruct me on the nature of chaos theory and how bad everything is going to go. I like those little like mini challenges that come up, like suddenly there's a storm or you've made a dinosaur that needs, you know, three other dinosaurs to be with them in order to not start breaking out. So then you have to deal with those crises, all that kind of stuff. I really like that aspect of it. I like being challenged in that way, but without like having, you know, a giant timer hanging over myself or just be like, you know, oh, make this on the hardest difficulty. So I like that, you know, I like that the campaign mode gives me a challenge, but also enough freedom to sort of putter around within, you know, the confines of the campaign mode.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think it's interesting. You look at the way people play the campaign, and because it's kind of a broad reach sort of X objective, and then you just kind of have the canvas in front of you, a lot of people will do it differently. So I remember for me, and I probably shouldn't confess this because she'll be like, no, you're encouraging everyone to cheat, but I literally got Matt and Seros up to 5 stars, and then I just kept using the is it the exhibition center or the expedition center? There we go. To go out and get fossils, and I'd then sell them on the next island and use that as a basis to build up there and kind of just like go through it that way. So I feel like that's one example of how there's so many different ways that you can like approach that objective because it is so open but linear at the same time, which is cool.
I also have a confession to make. I did that too.
I'm so proud right now.
I've totally done that. Once I figured out that, hey, these transfer from island to island. Interesting.
It's like, oh, how have you suddenly made 6 million on this island when you've got no buildings?
No reason. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Cool. Well, I can say that my strategy has officially been validated now, so I'm happy with that.
I should mention this was before I started working in Frontier.
Okay. So not
I can't officially endorse it
validated.
now.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm going to end on a fun question.
Right.
I can't remember how Bo answered this. I think she might have just conceded to defeat in the end. So, if you found yourself stranded on a dinosaur-infested island, and it's literally just you're on this island, what would you do to survive?
Oh, Lord. I like the easy way out for me is just to be like, I wouldn't survive and then just go dumb. But, you know, I think I'd try to, like, you know, make some sort of hut for myself. Cool. Try to make some sort of spear if I could, and then try to like kill some smaller dinosaurs if possible to like make food out of. But realistically, I know that if I found myself stranded on a dinosaur-infested island, I would probably just die.
Yep. Yep, I feel that. I always picture it being, is it The Deep, that game where you're like on the tropical island and you've got to just use everything on the island to survive and then start going out to places? I always picture myself in a situation like that where I'll like make a raft or something, but the raft isn't watertight and I just end up sinking, and that's how I go out.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just down to human error, not down to any dinosaur interaction, sadly.
I mean, that's usually, considering, you know, disaster movies and, hey, Jurassic Park or like zombie movies, like it's usually other people that get you or yourself that get you. It's not the thing happening around. That's just sort of the thing that pushes you to do the stupid thing that ends up killing you.
Yeah. In this case, it might be us trying to escape from biosyn or dodgesyn, and then we end up like tripping over and dropping a Barbasol can. Cool. Well, I think that's about everything. So before we go ahead and wrap up here, was there kind of any final words that you wanted to say to anyone listening? So much pressure.
Yeah, so much pressure. What is it Bill and Ted say? I need to Google this now. Bill and Ted. Come on, internet. This is just fun stuff, right?
Please hold.
Where is it? Please hold. Oh yeah, be excellent to each other.
Cool. There we go. So
and play Jurassic World Evolution.
I like that. Very on brand right at the end. Cool. Why don't you let people know where they can find you on social media, Jens?
Sure. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at JEVALER. That's JEVAALER.
Perfect. And where can they find out more about Jurassic World Evolution?
They can follow us they can follow us on a bunch of different channels. They can follow us on Twitter at JW_evolution or Facebook.com/Jurassic World Evolution. They can follow us on Instagram.com/Jurassic World Evolution. There's also a unofficial Jurassic World Evolution subreddit, r/Jurassic World Evo, I think it is.
Yeah,
and then,
that sounds right.
As far as I know, that subreddit also has a Discord channel, a Discord server, and then that Discord server should be linked to from the subreddit, I believe.
Cool. Perfect. Well, lots of places to keep in touch with things. Cool.
Yeah, and then I think we're also we're on Twitter at Frontier Dev if you want to just follow Frontier as a company.
Make sure to go and follow them on every platform. And cool. Well, I think that is it for today's Innovation Center. Thank you so much for coming on, Jens.
You're welcome.
It has been a ton of fun getting to hear more about you, obviously your journey in the games industry, and also why you may or may not make the wrong decisions about favourite dinosaurs. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me. This has been super fun. I really enjoy. I've really enjoyed this, and thank you so much for inviting me to come on.
Yeah, no worries. We'll do it again in the future for sure. Cool. Right, well, that has been another episode of the Innovation Center here on the Jurassic Park Podcast. Thank you for listening, and until the next time, have a good week, I guess.